How would you know if we start talking about old village temples and how we worshipped and how we went and what kind of food we ate and all that? You think the culture of a people is confined to the temples that they build or the universities or the cement and stone blocks, buildings that they build? Culture is the people, how they practice it. So I thought we should start something based on the temple, how the temple is running, so that the young people, whether they are from Sri Lanka or India or Singapore or Holland or Denmark, doesn't matter. They should have an exposure to this thing and understand why. And what is the symbol of a Saivite? The vibhuti, isn't it? So I called it VSI, Vibhuti Saivite immersion. And it was started to teach kids like you the culture, the ups and downs of how it is and what the worship is like, how they dressed, how they ate. How they sang. And vibhuti also means the grace that comes from a deity.
Shrimatre Namaha. Namaskaram everyone. Welcome back to our Sacred Rites and Rituals of Sanatana Dharma learning series, which is a joint presentation by the Sri Vidya Temple Society in Rochester, New York, and Ashtanga Yoga Mandir of Sri Lanka. A few housekeeping reminders. We kindly ask everyone to keep all microphones and cameras turned off throughout the session. Please use the question form to share any questions you might have pertaining to the content discussed today. For those viewing our live stream, our question form can also be found on our webpage, which is srividya.org/aym-lectures. At this time, we will hand it over to Aya to begin today's session.
Om Suklam Bharadaram Vishtum Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Tyayed Sarva Viknobashantaye Sri Mahaganadhipataye Namaha Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Annapurneshwari Amba Sameda Sri Amruthanandanada Saraswati Sri Guru Sri Padukam Pujayami Tarpajami Namaha. My humble pranams to my esteemed Guruji, Srila Sri Amruthanandanada Saraswati of Devi Puram. my humble prostrations to him and I pray that he sits on my heart lotus and speaks through today. All of us are aware, most of us being of Indian or Sri Lankan or Malaysian parents, when we were born, 99 times out of 100, they would have had a horoscope cast for the newborn child. And the horoscope these days is consulted with material ideas in mind. Jyotisham is called Veda Angam. One of the limbs of the Vedas is Jyotisham. And it is not the use that it has been put to now is a perverted use. It is to be consulted to enhance one's spiritual ambitions. And if there are obstacles coming out, arising in the future for health issues, that's the main focus it should have been. But these days, every person who is able to know the names of the 9 planets calls him herself as an astrologer, and they start predicting. It is an exact science. It is very perfect, and it has been demonstrated to be so over and over and over again. Of course, if there are die-hard skeptics, you will have to excuse them. They are entitled to their own opinions. Now, today's planetary positions over the city of Rochester, where I live, is there for you to see. On Friday, April 30th, 2021, if you see, Mesha has got Surya and Shukra. Mesha is Aries. Rishabha, Taurus, has Buddha and Rahu. Mithuna, Gemini, has got Mangala, Mars. And then Virichika, Scorpio, has Ketu. In Dhanur Rasi, Chandra is there. Makara Rasi, Sanishwaran is there. Kumbha Rasi, Guru is there. And then Meena Rasi. Now, if you look at them, each one of these houses belongs to a planet. So, going clockwise, beginning with Mesha Rasi, Mesha and Virichika are owned by Mars, Mangala. Rishabha and Tula Rasi are owned by Shukra, Venus. Mithuna and Kanya Rasi are owned by Buddha, Mercury. Karkataka is owned by the moon. Simha is owned by the sun. Meena and Dhanur Rasi are owned by Jupiter, Guru. Makara and Kumbha are owned by Saneshwara. Now, depending on how the planets are positioned at a moment, you will be interested to know that if you stand in the center, around you is 360 degrees. If you divide it by 12, the number of rasis, if you divide it by 12, you will arrive at 30 degrees. That means each rasi is 30 degrees. And to traverse these 30 degrees, each planet takes a particular time. Now, mostly Saturn, for instance, Saneshwaran, which many people are terrified about, Saneshwaran takes 30 months to move through one Rasi. That means 2 years and 6 months. Like that, various Rasis, various planets have different rates in which they move through the Rashi Mandalam. This is called the Rashi Mandalam. Now, when Saneswaran is in one house, like for instance, today he is in Makara Rasi, and he is probably at about few degrees. I will let you know in a minute. Saneswaran has traversed 18 degrees. He has progressed 18 degrees into Makara. That means there are 12 more months for him to move out of Makara Rasi. 18 degrees, he travels 1 degree every month. That is his rate. Now, when he is in one Rasi, the Rasi behind him and the Rasi in front of him, he will influence. And this period, 30 months times 3, so 7.5 years, he will affect the people at the present moment in Dhanur Rasi, Makara Rasi, and Kumbha Rasi. Now, when Sani is there, this is called 7.5 Saturn. Now, if you look at the slide, the nakshatras, the constellations that are involved are Mula, Purvashada, Uttarashada, Sravana, Dhanishta, Satabisha, and Purvabhadravada. Now, it's also interesting, I have to tell you, that each of these Rasis, the 30 degrees, there are 9 padas. Each constellation is given 4 padas, means 4 divisions. So, in every Rasi, there are 9 such divisions. So, some nakshatras, depending on which half you are born, some of it may be in one Rasi and the other planets will be in another one. You can't just take the particular position of Saturn or Moon and say, okay, this is the Rasi. It could be in 2 different places. We'll come to that. Now, for these people, first, second, and third pada, I have said Purva Bhadrapada, first, second, and third pada. What happened to the fourth one? Fourth one is now in Meena Rasi. So, people born in Purva Bhadrapada, fourth padam or fourth division, their Rasi is Meena. For the others, it is Kumbha Rasi. First, second, and third. Now, this period, 7.5 years of Saturn, is considered to be very negative. And various astrologers, various schools of astrology have different ideas about the 7.5 years. But everybody accepts the fact that general rule of thumb is that he will produce negative effects for these 7.5 years. Now, Mula, Purvashada, and Uttarashada, first division, first padam, are inside Dhanur Rasi. At the moment, Saturn is in Dhanur Rasi. Saturn is in Makara Rasi and he is in Sravana Nakshatram, third padam. So, general rule, you can just look at this and notice. So now the question arises, how can we get over the negative effects of Saturn? There is another combination for Saturn. It is called Janma Shani. That means Janma Shani, you see Uttarashada, second, third, and fourth pada. Sravana, Uttarashada, the whole Uttarashada, second, third, and fourth pada. Sravana Nakshatra and Dhanishta, first and second padas, are now in Makara Rasi. And for them, Saturn is in their Rasi Chakram, in their Rasi. That means it is in their house. If you want to find out through a professional astrologer how far for the next 10, 15 years, then you take your horoscope to him. He will analyze from the ascendant, which is called Lagnam in the horoscope. If you take the chart to an astrologer and ask him, what are the next 2 years or 3 years like for me? He will choose the Rasi, the house in which moon is located, and calculate. Now, when the 7.5 years, you are going through the 7.5 years, Janma Shani, Uttarashada 2, 3, and 4, Sravana, Dhanishta 1 and 2 will have maximum effect of the Saturn. But if you remember, I told you Makara and Kumbha belong to Saturn, belong to him, Saneswaran. So if you are in that portion and he is in his own house, his strength is magnified, but he will not do permanent or maximum damage. Because you have come to his house, he's going to treat you with a certain amount of compassion and respect. Now, there is something called Ashtama Shani. Ashtama means you count from the nakshatra, the Rasi where Saturn is sitting. If you can go back to that slide, please. Now you see it's sitting on Makara. That is number 1. Kumbha is 2, Meena 3, Mesha 4, Vrishabha 5, Mithuna 6, Kataka 7, Simha 8. Now, this is how he is Simha 8, Kanya 9, and Tula 10. He is aspecting. His influence will be felt in Tula too, the people who are in Tula. Now, if he is in Makara Rasi, count backwards. Makara, Dhanu 2, Virichika Rasi 3, Tula 4, Kanya 5, Simha 6, Kataka 7, and Mithuna 8. So, Mithuna Rasi, from there, he is in the 8th house. That is also concentrated, it is also considered to be negative. The only difference is, for the 7.5 years, what he will give as his prasadam, that means trials and tribulations, he will concentrate in 30 months and give you. So that is quite negative. So Mithuna Rasi, the nakshatrams that are involved are Mrigashirisha 2 and 3, Arudra, all 4 padas, right? And Punarvasu 1, 2, and 3. So these people will have Mrigashirsha 3rd and 4th, Arudra, Punarvasu 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. These people will have a concentrated dose of this. Now I am going through I'm not going through all the 9 planets because that will be a waste of time. You can find out. Take any almanac and look at it, you will be able to see how many and which places the planetary positions are. Now, Saturn will also aspect or influence from where he is. to the third aspect, 10th aspect, 7th aspect. The third aspect is strong, and the 10th aspect is also quite strong. And the 7th aspect is generally not that strong, but it is you will feel the effect. Go back to the previous one, please. Now, we saw that if you count from Makar Rasi clockwise, 10th house is Tula. Tula is Chaitra, Chitra Nakshatram, 3rd and 4th padas. Right? And Swati, all of Swati. And 1, 2, 3 of Vishaka Nakshatra. So these people have the 10th aspect of him. The 7th aspect, you will see Makara, Kumbha, Meena, Mesha, Rishabha, Mithuna, Kataka. Karkataka Rasi is the 7th aspect. So if you go back to the thing, the 7th aspect is Purvavatravada, Chitra, Punarvasu, 4th Pada, Pusha Nakshatra, Aslesha. So he is now aspecting this, and generally Pilava Varisham, that is this year, is not supposed to be very bad for Karkada Rasi. Now, because Saturn is aspecting it, the good effects will be reduced. You will still receive blessings, but the blessings will be reduced because of Saturn's influence. Similarly, there is a 10th aspect. Chitra, Swati and Vishaka. Chitra, it should be 3rd and 4th. I'm sorry, I missed that. It should be 3rd and 4th padas in Swati, in Tula Rasi. For them also, the problem will be there. But the main trouble will be for people who have Janma Shani, because they are also undergoing 7.5 years, and Shani is now, Shaniswaran is seated on their Rasi. They will have a little bit of negativities going on. Now, this is Saturn. Now, when you look at it, if Saturn happens to be in the same house with either Rahu or Ketu, if it goes into the house where Rahu is seated, the sloka says, Sanivat Paladayana. In Saturn will increase the strength of both of them. So if Saturn is going to give you 10 pounds to carry, suddenly because Rahu is there, you will get 20 pounds to carry. So the burden is a little more, it's a little increased. Now, these planetary positions that are shown here, which is exactly for Rochester, will keep moving quickly. Like Chandra will move out of Dhanur Rasi very quickly. And tomorrow will be another Nakshatram. 2.5 days, he is gone. Like that, Surya will move 1 month at a time in each house. So, we have been thinking the 7.5 year period for me, I just finished. And I saw people belonging to the same house, like Virichika, the people who are also born under that sign, going through, sometimes they were going through hell. It was very saddening. So we decided that we would perform pujas for them so that the effect can be nullified or reduced. Now, I went through the net. Internet, there were so many different varieties of Rasi Mandalam, that is the 12 mandalas that you see here, 12 signs of the zodiac, different configurations were there. North Indian, South Indian, Krishnamurti's recension, then B.V. Raman's, or up north, Lahiri Mahasayas, all of these things were there. I couldn't come upon something that would speak for everybody and everybody would be able to read it and understand it. Now, if you don't know anything about the planetary positions and how they are and what the numbers have to be, this diagram in front of you is of no use to you. So I wanted something that would show the Rasi Mandalam, the Rasis, 12 Rasis, the 27 constellations, 27 nakshatrams, and where each nakshatram is located, whether it is divided into two Rasis. I wanted to see that. And then I also wanted to write or indicate on that, whatever that we were going to make, which planet rules which nakshatram, because the planets have power over the nakshatras. And we took some time, I consulted few of my kids, my children here, and we came upon a circular pattern. Please show them the Rasi Mandalam. What we came up was this one. Now the big bands of color that you see, if you count from the red at the top clockwise, you will come up with 12. These are the 12 Rasi Mandalas, Rasis. And they are calculated. You will see lines going outside the mandala and degrees are marked there. Okay. Then immediately below them is the nakshatra mandala. If you look at the thin lines going in there, different colors, you will end up with 27. We will come to that. And the one that is closest to the center will tell you which planet is controlling. So this came out to be a perfect calculation. I was still working on this when I had occasion to visit New Zealand. And in New Zealand, there was an aunt of my wife. She was in her 80s, but she was a remarkable person. Remarkable. In the sense, she grew up in a very conservative, traditional, strict household. And she was married off. And she had 6 children. After the 6 children, she entered law college, graduated as a lawyer while running a full household. And because she was so good, she was appointed as magistrate. And she retired as a magistrate. But she had an interesting thing that she was interested in astrology, like many people. So when she was talking, there were too many references that she made to this planet, this major period, that sub-period. So I asked, you are interested in this thing? She said, yes. So I had this diagram with me because we were doing Rashi Mandala pujas in Australia and New Zealand. So I told her, I have a diagram that I have come up with showing all these and showing the positions. What do you think of this? And I showed it to her. She told me, hold it. Just a minute. got up and went into a bedroom, brought out a roll of tissue paper, which she had carefully preserved, and she unrolled it. She, unfurled the thing. It was identical, both of them. She said, I drew this 40 years back when I was practicing. I had chills. It was exactly identical, both of them. So now confirmation was there that, somebody who has studied this has confirmed to me that what we did was correct. So, and in this instance, this forms the nucleus of the Rashi Mandala Puja. This arrangement. In the center, you see the swastika. There, the Devi is located. The thing goes Ganesha Graha Nakshatra Yoginim, Rasi Rubinim, Naumim Devim Mantramayim Matrukapida Rubinim. Ganesha, Ganapati. See, Ganesha Graha Nakshatra Yoginim, Rasi Rubinim. Devim Mantramayim Naumim Matrukapida Rubinim. This is from the Devi Stuti. Ganesha is Ganapati. There are 51 different aspects of Ganapati. Each Ganapati has a Mithuna, a Shakti also with him. Graha, the 9 planetary forces are called Grahas. Nakshatra, 27 constellations. Yoginim, 64 crore yoginis. The Lalita Sahasranam says, Mahasadhushashti Koti Yogini Ganasevita. So, yoginis and their consorts are 64 crores. Now, in all of them, the life force, the power, the vitality behind all of them is Devi. Then he says, Mantramayim. There are 700 million mantras available. And the 700 million mantras, the life force is the mother. So, I thought it is very appropriate that we could use this with the area in the center, using a murti of the Devi there and performing a Rashi Mandala Puja. Now here comes a complication. If I place Devi in the middle, automatically this circular turn becomes a yantra. And I have no business to move the Devi away from a Sri Chakram, Sri Yantra. Being a Sri Vidya Upasaka, I cannot move her away from it. So I thought we'll marry them. Both this Yantra and the Sri Yantra were superimposed. When I superimposed the Sri Yantra, this is the form I got. Now the circle that you see with the Rashi Mandalam is purposely shrunk a little bit so that you can read it properly. You will read the areas around it properly. The outermost circle is the first circle in the Kanganam, in the Sri Chakram. And where the swastika is the Bindu. So all the other deities, all of them are now inside that Sri Chakram. Now if this is a Sri Chakram, it has to have 4 openings. There are 4 entrances. In the east, it is called Purva Dwara. In the south, it is called Dakshina Dwara, southern entrance. In the west, it is called Paschima Dwara, western entrance. North, Uttara Dwara, northern entrance. Now, each of these entrances, you can't just walk into this. This is the Devi's Rajadhani, her kingdom. You cannot just walk in and out of that place on your own free will, right? So what you have to do is, each entrance is guarded by a particular deity. And each entrance details how you can, with what kind of an education, with what kind of an application can you enter that eastern entrance or western entrance. So in the eastern entrance, the protective deity there is Mahapratyangara. Without her permission, you cannot go in. And the method that you can apply to enter the eastern entrance, the knowledge comes from the Rig Vedam. For example, Sri Suktam. In our parampara, in our Pitam, Sri Sukta Vidhanam is the general application that every Upasaka uses in his house to perform puja. So that is from the Rig Vedam. And Mahapratyangara, most of the people in the temple have been initiated into this mantra. It goes Om Hrim Sham Pakshajwala Jikve Karalatam Shre Pratyangare Sham Hrim Hum Pat Om Hrim Dum Uttishta Purushi Kim Swavishi Bayam Me Samupastidam Yadi Shakyam Ashakyam Va Tanme Bhagavadi Samaya Samaya Swaha Dum Hrim Om. So after worshipping them, you can enter. And chanting from the Rig Vedam, you can go Agnim Ile Purohidam Yakya Sarutpijam Hodaram Tattatamam Hari Om Hari Om Hari Om. This is just an example. So you chant Rig Vedam and now you have given permission to enter. So you can see we are treating the Rashi Mandalam with a great amount of respect. We are not just walking in. We are treating it as the abode of the mother, and then we are chanting it. And it goes Ganesha Graha Nakshatra Yoginim Rasi Rupanim. That is a prayer to the mother. There are people who argue with me, who have argued with me. Why do you have to go through all this? You can just chant this sloka 1008 times a day and be done with it. But, it is like cutting open somebody, right, for a particular surgery. And if you do not know which organ is infected, whether it is the pancreas or the gallbladder or the liver, right, or even the appendix, you open the abdomen, the individual knowledge must be there. So until that knowledge comes, you have to really respect those forces that have that energy. Okay. Now in the southern entrance belongs to Yajurveda. And the Devi there, the protective deity there is Suni Durga. Some traditions, Sarveshwara is at the southern entrance. It doesn't matter which one, can be interchanged. Western entrance is Samavedam, and there is Sudarshana and Narasimha Sudarshana at the western entrance. Northern entrance is Sarveshwara and Atharvana Veda. So you see, you have to worship all of these deities before you can enter the yantra. The yantra that we came up with in the Sri Rajarajeswari Devi is 35 feet long, 35 feet wide. So it's a 35-foot square yantra with this diagram printed in color. And you have to, it is always mounted on a pitam, on a stage. Until you have worshipped the adjoining deities, you cannot go up on that stage. Now this is what that yantra looks like in the temple. Rashi Mandala is quite elaborate. You are actually standing at the eastern entrance to the deity. So, all of the deities, now, in most cases, where the Devi's Sri Yantram is made into a Meru, the base is shown as a tortoise. in other places, to make things a little more easier and attractive, I chose the Gajas, that is the directional elephants, the elephants in the directions who are bearing Devi's Peetam on their shoulders. So that means they have to be respected too. So as we were devising the puja, there are directional deities. You see small drawings outside of the circle. Each of them is one of the directional deities. In the east is Indra. In the southeast is Agni. South is Yama. Southwest is Nairuti. West is Varuna. Northwest is Vayu. North is Kuvera, Soma. Northeast is Ishanya. Above is Brahma. Below is Vishnu. These are the deities that are there. Now, each of them also needs to be worshipped, because if you are going inside the Sri Yantra in the Rashi Mandala Chakra with a view to alleviating planetary problems that you are facing, you have to dot all the I's and cross all the T's. If you miss one, you missed it. So, meticulous planning is required to run this puja. Now, the planetary forces that you saw will be located in the first layer that you see, the thick layer of colors. Wherever, in whichever Rasi planets are, on that particular day, we will tell you where, for instance, Surya is there. I will say Surya is there in, for example, Moola Nakshatram, third Padam. It is that accurate. And it will be located. And what is interesting is, the temple has murtis of all of them. 18-inch high Panchaloka murtis of the Devatas and the Navagrahas. And they will be located in particular places. If you can enlarge one of them, they might be able to see a little bit more clearly. If it is not possible, don't worry, that's okay. Now, each of them, there is Patini, the consort, Putra, children, Parivara, revenue, Ayuda, the weapons that each one carries, Vahana, the vehicle, Danya, the particular pulse that is associated with that planet. Then the particular, if you look, the particular stone, gemstone that is associated with that planet is also there. So meticulously, every one of them is planned. And you will notice that the coconut that is sitting on top
Hi, everyone. Just bear with us. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. We'll begin shortly. We'll resume shortly.
Namah Shivaya, Shivaya Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya. All right. See, I was having so much fun explaining this thing to you. We are run out of time. This will probably go on for 3, 4, 5 sessions because unless you understand this, you won't be able to get me one of the quadrants, Amma. One of them, any one of them, one quadrant. So I can read something out for them. Each planet will be in one of 5 conditions. See, there is a key on the right-hand side top. If you read, look at the yellow one, Mithuna Rasi, Surya, there is a cut. That means Surya is an enemy. Chandran, friend. Mangala, friend. Buddha is ruling. Guru is a friend. Shukran is a friend. Shaneswaran is a friend. Rahu, Ketu are friendly. And the planet that you see there, the figure that you see there is Buddha. I will stop here today and we will pick up from where we left off today. Questions? And by the way, Vyasa, Mr. Vyasa of the Ashtanga Yoga Mandir, I know it is the next day for you. Happy birthday. Today it is still Friday here for us. Happy birthday to you. All of us join in the temple here in greeting you. May you live long, 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 long time.
Thank you very much, Ayya. As per Nakshatra, today is the exact, today is falling the Mula Nakshatra.
Your Moolam?
Yes, Moolam, Ayya.
Oh, wonderful. 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 Okay. Questions?
So, yeah, we have a few questions based on today's session. What can you do to reduce the effects of Shani for those who are going through 7.5 years?
I will be covering that in the next session or the following section.
Then next question, Ayya. What is a daily practice to avoid the negative planetary effects?
Okay. Daily practice is you chant Ganesha Graha Nakshatra Yoginim Rasi Rupinim, right? Devi Mantramayim Matrika Pita Rupinim, that one you can chant. Or if you don't know Sanskrit, chant Veyuru Thodi Pangan Vidamunda Kandan Miga Nalla Veedai Thadavi Masar Thingal Gangai Punivel Anindan Udame Puhunda Adana Nyayiru Thingal Savvai Budan Vyalan Valli Sani Pambirandu Mudane Asar Nalla Nalla Avai Nalla Nalla Adiyaravatku Mihrave. Sing this every day, you're done.
Does the aspect of Saturn move progressively through each Rasi? If the third aspect is in Meena, then will it move to Mesha Rasi next?
Yes. The aspect will move as the planet is moving. So if the third aspect is Mesham now, when it moves to Kumbha Rasi, it will go to Rishabha Rasi. The third aspect will go to Rishabha.
Then the last question we have today is, what is the relationship between the effects of planets and our karma?
Your karma is being worked out through the planets. The Devi has given the authority of working out your karma, right, to the planets. So with their movement, with their motions, with their aspecting, with their power, they will work your karma out for you. So these are the devatas. And then for each planet, there is an immediate supervisor and a supervisor above him. The immediate supervisor is called Adidevata, Pratyadidevata. So those deities will be watching to see whether these guys are doing their work properly. So this is a large, complicated thing that you have to at least have a rudimentary understanding of it.
One more question, Ayya. What are ways to mitigate Kala Sarpa dosha?
Kala Sarpa dosham is ascribed to Rahu and Ketu. Okay, Kala Sarpa dosham, if it is there are one or two things that you can do. There are places where there are temples especially for Rahu and Ketu. Or one place there will be a temple for Rahu, in the other place there will be this thing for Ketu. Find out those places and go on a pilgrimage to those places. For instance, those of you who are in Sri Lanka, you can go to Ketiswaram because Ketu worshipped that Shivalingam. And if you go and do Seva, or you go and do Pradikshanam, or you go and do Namaskaram, Archanam, the corresponding value will be taken away from your Sarpadosham, Kala Sarpadosham. And of course, in the temple, we have a peculiar system that brings science and astrology together. We have found through various researching that we have been doing for nearly 30, 40 years. In the periodic table, there are 3 elements beginning with the letter M. Manganese, magnesium, and molybdenum, 3 of them. These are supposed to be present in your CSF, cerebrospinal fluid, in trace quantities. When I say trace quantities, 1 part per 3 million or something like that, a very tiny amount. But if those are not present, certain instincts, certain thought processes will not be triggered in the brain. So now somehow you have to introduce them into the thing, into the bloodstream so that it goes in. Now remember, astrologically speaking, how do you find out you have Kala Sarpa dosham? All the planets go around the sun clockwise. Rahu and Ketu go anti-clockwise. So keeping that in mind, between Ketu and Rahu, you see how many good planets are there. Surya, Guru, right? All these good planets that are there. If all the planets are caught up in that area, then that person is said to have Kala Sarpa dosham. Now you look at this diagram in the present position, let us say, Ketu and Vrichika are there. So you have to count anti-clockwise. See, Surya is there, 1, Guru is there, Chandra is there. Already 3 of the major planets are caught. So this person, if the person was born today in Rochester, this indicates Kala Sarpa dosham. So what we do is we provide a colloidal solution. Scientifically speaking, a copper pot is taken and a gallon of milk is poured into it. And then water is added. So it will become a 0.05 normal solution. And now, if you remember the first few lectures, oligodynamic effect is taking place. All the ions are migrating towards the center. And you add jaladravyam, that has chemicals. Those things will dissolve in the water and form. So there is this colloidal solution to which you are doing puja to Rahu and Ketu. doing tarpanam on a yantra placed on a copper tray, and on top of the yantra there is a silver snake for both planets. And when the person says Rahave Tarpajami, the person who is doing the puja will be offering the milk on top of the snake, and it's going. At the end of the puja, that milk is taken and abhishekam is done to you. And after you have received the abhishekam, whatever clothes that you are wearing will be discarded. You will have to have new clothes to wear and go. Invariably, people have told me that they have felt a load gone from their bodies. So this is how we do it at our temple. And the elements, magnesium, molybdenum, and manganese are inside the ingredients that we put in, and that goes into the system. Okay? We'll stop there today.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Aya, for sharing about the planetary positions and about the Rashi Mandala. We're looking forward to learning more in the upcoming sessions about the Rashis and the planetary positions. As a reminder, to access all demonstration videos and content from our prior sessions, please visit srividya.org/AYM-lectures. All content will be available on our website for everyone to access and to practice. Thank you everyone for joining us for today's session. At this time, we will hand it over to Vyasanko from Ashtanga Yoga Mandir to begin our yoga session.
Greetings to all of you all, and my respect and pranams to Haranaya for this thoughtful wish. And those who are willing, you can come on video on mode so that we can all practice together. Whoever wish, you can make yourself comfortable. So you will see in the practice of yoga, one of the most important aspects is that when you're doing the performance of any asanas, only doing asanas is not going to give you benefits. What is most important is that in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, one of the important textbooks regarding the theory of the yoga, you have an elaborated book which is called the Tirumantram. So if anyone is interested to understand the core essence of spiritualism and also the fundamentals of aspects of yoga, whether it can be asanas, whether it can be pranayama, or it can be chakras, or even the Ashtanga yoga. In Patanjali Yoga Sutra, the beauty is it gives philosophical aspects of it, of a certain dimension, which is sufficient enough. But a person who wants to have the complete knowledge, going into different sources of books, if you just take only Tirumantram and just study that from the beginning till the end, you will be able to understand the whole aspects. Every aspects of an individual's evolution, you will see that is there in Tirumantram. Although the Patanjali and Tirumudar are considered as comes from the same lineage, same group, classmates, you will see that Tirumantram is a very extensive, elaborated knowledge, one book. So if a person is able to take hold of the Tirumantram itself, that itself is sufficient enough for them to understand the whole concept, Shiva pujas, the dhyanas, all the other aspects, the Kara chakras, everything. Greatness. So in this Patanjali Yoga Sutra, there is one thing which is called as Thiram Sukham Asanam. So what does it mean? Is Stiram Sukham Asanam. There is one meaning which comes as when you're doing the asanas, there has to be stability. That is what basically every one of us think, and that is what it's also follow. But basically what happens, the inner meaning of Stiram Sukham, the word Stiram comes from the idea of understanding if an asana has to come into a Stiram. Now, for example, I'm completely new to the practice of yoga, and I'm just going to do the Ekapadasana. And so I will be having an imbalance in my position. So what is most important? So if I have to be getting that balance, if I have to get the stiram, the steadiness of it, then it is very important that I need to inculcate the breathing practice. So either I'll have to know the Dirgha Swasa very well, or before I go into the practice. So for example, I try my Ekapadasana, standing on one leg, but I feel that there is an imbalance in mind. Then what I should do? I should go into some Nadi Shruti. So today we will do one practice, which is a very primarily important practice, which is called as Nadi Shruti, which all of you will be knowing it, but we just go in detail. So how do we do the Nadi Shruti? So what does the Nadi Shruti means? You will see in the Tirumandram Nadi Shruti, the definition for Nadi Shruti is explained beautifully. Cleansing of chakras is Nadi Shruti. Are you clear? Cleansing of the chakras is only called as Nadi Shruti. So here you will see in the practice of, so you will see that if we are going to do the cleansing of the nadis, how specifically and how systematically we have to do the practice. So you will see the general understanding of Nadi Shruti is basically that first you exhale out from the left, then you take a very gentle inhalation through the left, and then you exhale through the right, and then you inhale through the right again, and then you exhale through the left. This is what we generally do. So can we do the Nadi Shruti immediately? It will take some time, but you will see that it is possible. Especially if you start teaching Nadi Shruti for young children, that will be great, because for them, the chakras are always clean. That is the beauty of it. So you will see that if for children, especially if they are above the age of 8, once you start giving them the practice of Nadi Shruti, only Nadi Shruti is sufficient initially. Go on giving to them the chakras, because what happens is after a specific age, only the impurification of the chakras starts. Sometimes those who have come in between in our life, for example, 30 years I've started my yoga practices, I will have a quantum of aspects as things of doshas in the chakras. So if we have to cleanse it, because the practice of yoga depends on how pure the chakras are. So as beautifully Ayya said, so on one side you can do that from the ritualistic parts of it, cleansing the whole system. At the same time, you will see in all these practices, in all the rituals, in all these kriyas, you will see that you will be seeing into the cleansing process of the pranayama also. So here, how do we do the Nadi Shruti? Is basically there's a specific counting. If you can do it, it will be great. So basically, you will just breathe out completely. So when you are able to inhale, if you are able to inhale for a count up till 12, it is wonderful. Any sports personalities, those who go regularly for walk, easily you can achieve the 12. Or come up till 9. If 9 is difficult, then do up till 7. But once you are doing 7 and 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, then we call it as the Nadi Shodhanas, cleansing of the nasal passage. Understand? So how do we do that? I will just demonstrate, and then after that we will all able to do it little by little. If you are able to do the Nadi Shuddhi practice very well, it just takes only one mandalam. That is 48 days is sufficient enough. You can bring your breathing up till 15 counts. Simply you can do. Anyone, all what you need to do is do it empty stomach. Before breakfast, before lunch, before dinner. That's all. Empty stomach. Specific time. If you start doing that, just do it and see how wonderfully your body will change. So one specific time, exactly one specific time. Another one of the most important thing is those who are taking up Nadi Shruti. For example, we have high blood pressure. For example, we'll say, or I have some nervous disorders, anything of that, or continuous inflammation in my system. Then what is most important is that always start with Nadi Shruti. Why? Nadi Shruti will start balancing the hemispheres of your system, number one. After doing the Nadi Shruti, depending now, for example, most of you who are here, who are observing these sessions of Ayas, you will see you will have a good knowledge. And the best is always it is important that you do the Achamanam before your Nadi Shruti. And once you finish the session, those who have, you can either use belly or tulsi. That water, 1 spoon, you know, in the spoons, just little bit, that's sufficient. After that only you need to put your salt. Sometimes what happens, we have our Nadi Shruti practice. So we have what is the general practice is after 20 minutes, you can have whatever you want. We immediately consume the salt. You need to have a liquid. So in case if you are able to have good milk, avoid the powdered milk. Any other fresh milk is fine. Just 1 spoon of milk is enough. Once after 15 to 20 minutes, just take a little bit of milk. If you have tulsi, tulsi water. If you have vilva, vilva water. That is fine. After that, or take warm water. That's enough. So once you do that, the duration of how it depends, how long it depends on your system. So Nadi Shruti has an impact, durational impact. For some people, it will be there for 3 hours. For some people, it will be there for 4 hours. For some people, it will only sustain for 1 hour. That you will do based on your emotionality. You will be able to understand that. So I'll just demonstrate how do we do that. So you will have to select one of the best asanas of your choice. So you can even choose sitting on a chair. Perfect. Don't worry. As long as your spine is aligned, shoulders are relaxed, you can be in this position. Or you also can come into any of the comfortable position. As most of you are very comfortable, you can come into the Padmasana if you can. So you will say, you will take it up like that, and then you will bring it out like this. Always in Padmasana, we have told you that you need to hold both the feet. And you will see that there is a powerful chakra here. So if you are able to press it like this, and then take it up like that, and you need to place it in this position. So basically you will see you have the navel region here. The knee will, the heels will touch. This is Purna Padmasana. In case, if not, so once you finish it also, you need to take it and keep it back. The most reverent practice. Any of the asanas, you need to do that. Sometimes if you're doing the Padmasana, it's fine. So for you're like this, you take it up, only up to here you can do. Then you are able to do this here. Wonderful. If you can do like this, that is fine. This is also Padmasana. By practice, you will be able to bring it together in Purna Padmasana. And then what happens is that you will slowly, if not, you can go into the basic other practice, Sukhasana. So in Sukhasana also we have learned the Purna Sukhasana, where you will see that both the heels comes and touches together, or just be like that. But what happens in these practices, in this practice, or even if you do the Ardha Padmasana, you will see that the body flops down. That is the problem. So better you sit on the chair, or please come into the Vajrasana. So Vajrasana, 1, 2, heels together, be in this position. So you will see that the feet is like this. You will be sitting like this. So sometimes it's very good that if you can just check both the toes are together, come up like this, and then push the heels like this, and then switch over it. So I use the thumb, sit over it, so and then the body comes straight. So the sitting position is very important for Nadi Shruti. Why? Because you will see for the Nadi Shruti practice, when we do, it is very important that there should not be physical agitations or physical changes should not become there, because of we are working with the subtle body. Once the subtle body becomes perfect, that is what you will see. There should not be, so for example, when you are holding, so when you are doing this breathing also, you will see that you can hold it like this, because some people will have shoulder pain. So when they have the shoulder pain, so they will come into this position. You give a support like that, and then be like this, and then you will start. For demonstration purpose, now I breathe out, and now I'm starting to inhale. And now I'm going to exhale. Now I'm going to inhale back. Exhale. So this is one round of inhalation. So inhalation is always easy for us. You can simply go to 12. You can go to 15. That is not important. Exhalation depends your inhalation count. So if you are taking exhalation of 15 or you're taking 12, you should be able to exhale for 12. But what happens due to gravitational concerns, the breath comes down faster. So first, we need to practice that. So that is one of the reasons where you start with beginning. So if you do so, then the inhalation, exhalation has to be more. So you will take a deep breath, we'll say 5 counts. 5 counts, easily we can exhale. Then you inhale for 5, exhale. 10 days, increase it every 3 days. We start today with 5. Every 3 days, you increase 1 digit. So today I will do 5. Tomorrow I will do 6. After 3 days, I will do 6. Like that, 3 days, if you increase, you will see beautifully without any agitations or anything. You will be able to do beautifully the Nadi Shruti in one mandala. You can be able to take that 12 rounds of inhalation. And 12 rounds of inhalation depends on the comfortability of your exhalation. Body has to be stable, no movements. That is what you will see when you are going into the Nadi Shruti, you will learn Kayastraya. So all those who are in the Sri Vidya tradition, it's become so easy because you are able to sit, focus, and go. So that's what you will see. Those who follow the Sanātana Dharma, for them the yoga becomes so easy. But those who have not in that system, sometimes you will see who have not done rituals, who have not pujas, who have not done their sadhana, they consider it as because the body will start restlessing. For that part only, what is important is you need to select, and Nadi Shruti is one of the most best practice. So due to the time concern, or the time is completing, we will do one round, all of us together with a guidance. So in your mudra, it will be like this. The thumb, second, third, and the fourth, and the fifth. You bend the second and the third. Keep it together. When you are placing, you will use thumb. When you are placing to the other, you will be using the fourth and the fifth. Why? The same amount of the pressure what the thumb gives, you need to get it from your fourth and fifth. When you combine the fourth and fifth, it is together. Sometimes, due to certain fragility of the age, we tell them to use all three, because sometimes the fingers lose its grip. So we need to get the thumb strength, and you will see the thumb strength will never move. Always in your body, the thumb strength will be there. That is the beauty of the divine. Very rarely people have weakness of the thumb. Very rare. Even whatever the health concern, the thumb always maintains. Like that, in our body, there are certain parts where the strength is always maintained. So we need to get the equivalent pressure from the thumb to here. Okay. So place it. Your right hand is good. If you're comfortable, bring your position like this only if you're finding it difficult, or you can come into the Chin Mudra and be like this. But we will do it like this because it becomes easy for us in this practice. So place your thumb, breathe out slowly. Now slowly inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now take your fourth and the fifth finger, place it on the left, open up the right and breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now inhale through the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now with the thumb, close the right nostril, release the fourth and the fifth, and breathe out from the left. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now inhale through the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Close the left, open the right, breathe out slowly. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now breathe in again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And breathe out through the left nostril. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now final round. Take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out through the left. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathe out. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Once you do this, relax yourself. Slowly open your eyes. So if you want to understand the pranic level or your nerve resistance power with a guided teacher, just do 12 rounds. Always do with a guided teacher. There is a reason why the teacher will be able to know whether your systems, the nervous systems, or there is a restlessness in your body. When I do it to myself, I will not know whether there is a restlessness. Body indicates some restless aspects which can be observed by the teacher. So you will see in the pranayama what is most important. Like, you will see that in most of the thing everyone knows, but in case if you are going as a therapy, you need to get an expert person who will be able to guide you in pranayama properly of Nadi Shruti, so that the whole body restlessness will be indicated. When we do the Nadi Pariksha, Nadigalai Sodhikira Poludu, generally it is understood. We will be able to know when patients come to the center, we know, okay, they will have restlessness on the right side. They will have restlessness on the hip. So that basic understanding we immediately observe. But apart from that, if another instructor is teaching you, they will be able to always, for few days, always get guided. But this practice is good. So that restlessness indicates. So when you do about 12 rounds, you will exactly know at one point of time, you will say, oh my God, after 3 rounds, it's so boring. Can we do an asana or can we just leave it out? That means your nervous system has to be taken. This is a basic indication. Like that, if you go on doing it for 1 mandala steadily and slowly, you will improve your nervous system in a beautiful manner. And that is the power of the Nadi Shruti. So please just practice the basics of Nadi Shruti in its beginner stage and enjoy the practice, and hope to see you all on another beautiful, according to India and Sri Lanka, next Saturday, or America, it is America and Canada, it's Friday evening of a beautiful session of respected Haranaya on the new topic. Thank you very much for Haranaya and all the wonderful volunteers and devotees of the Sri Rajarajeswari Temple, and also all the members of the Ashtanga Yoga Mandir. See you all next week. Thank you. We'll end the sessions with the Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you.